Hotep Scholars, I'm Professor Horton, and this is STEM for 2nd grade. We've been talking all about matter. We said that matter has three states: solid, liquid, and gas. We said that solid is matter that has both size and shape. Liquid is matter that has size but no shape. And gas is matter that has no size and no shape. Last class, we took a look at an experiment called Dancing Raisins, where we watched raisins, we observed raisins in two different jars. One jar had water in it, the other jar had Sprite in it, and the jar with the Sprite in it raised the raisins to the top, and when the raisins got to the top, they fell back down again. In our observation, we learned that the reason that the raisins were rising to the top was not because they gained some sort of magical power, but because they were covered in little bubbles. And we said that the best way to observe matter when it is in the state of gas is with bubbles. So with today's experiment, we're going to look at an amazing recipe for making a bubble solution that you can do at home. So join me in the lab when we learn to create our own homemade bubbles. Okay, scholars, for today's lab experiment, you will need Dawn, sugar, 1 tablespoon, and a 1 cup to measure out your ingredients. You will also need something to pour the water into and a large mixing bowl. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is pour 1/2 of a cup of hot water into our small mixing jar. You could use a small mixing cup, anything that is separate from the large mixing bowl. Keep in mind that because we're using hot water, once again, you'll still need your parents' permission and their assistance. You'll probably want to go ahead and let them pour the hot water. The water just needs to be hot. It does not need to be boiling. Alright, so we're going to first use our 1/2 of a cup scoop to measure out 1/2 cup of hot water. We're going to pour that water into our jar. There we go. I went ahead and poured it in. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to get the 1 tablespoon, and we're going to get 1 tablespoon of sugar. We're going to go ahead and mix in 1 tablespoon of sugar into the water. There we go. You'll also need something to stir this with, so I'm using a spoon, but anything that you can use to mix it up. There we go. And keep stirring until you no longer see the sugar. So we just want sugar water. Alright, then the next thing we're going to do is we are going to pour that warm sugar water into the 1 cup of lukewarm water. So in this bowl is 1 cup of lukewarm water. That's room temperature water. Doesn't need to be cold, it doesn't need to be hot, but it does need to be room temperature. So that's already in our mixing bowl. And now we're going to pour in the sugar water that we just mixed up. There we go. You can give it a quick stir. just to make sure that it's mixed well. And the final thing that we're going to do is we're going to mix in that 1/2 of a cup of the Dawn dishwashing liquid. So I'm going to go ahead and measure it out. Remember, this is the 1/2 of a cup. Great. And then we're just going to pour it into our mixing bowl. Try to get as much of it out as you can to keep our measure accurate. And once again, we're just going to mix it up to make sure that everything is mixed well. So the bubbles are actually made with the dishwashing liquid and the water. But in order to make sure that our bubbles last longer, we needed a binding agent, and that's gonna help the bubbles, when we blow the bubbles, that's gonna make sure that they don't pop as fast. Alright, so next I'm just going to go ahead and use our hands to blow the bubbles. So I usually try to get it nice and soapy. And then if you make, there we go, if you make your fingers like the OK sign, it makes a complete circle. And if I'll move this bowl out the way, there we go. When you blow, you start to get a bubble. So let me go ahead and skip to the part where I move it to the side. There we go. There we go. We're starting to get some nice bubbles. Now remember that we use that sugar water to create as a binding agent so that they didn't pop as quickly. So if you find that your bubbles are not lasting very long, it's okay to mix up a little more of that sugar water into the warm mixture and then add it into this solution. Alright, scholars, so go ahead and try this at home. Once again, do not forget to make sure that you have your parents' permission. You need their permission as well as their assistance. Also, go ahead and document your experiment in your launch log so that you never forget this recipe. Now remember, for this recipe, you need 2 tablespoons of sugar. You need 1/2 cup of hot water. You need 1 cup of room temperature water. And you need 1/2 cup of dishwashing liquid. Once you get it all mixed up, you're going to want to put your hands inside of the mixing bowl, and you want to make sure that the part that you are blowing the bubble from, so you're going to make the OK symbol, and you're going to want to make sure that all of your hand has the solution on it, because if the bubble hits something dry, then it'll pop. So you want to put your hands, make sure your hand gets all the way into the solution, and then form the OK symbol, and when you blow, you'll be able to have your own bubbles. Couple of other things that you can do is make your own bubble wand. So when you buy bubbles, they come with a wand, and you can do anything, you can use anything that will make a complete circle. So one thing that I've used is, once again with your parents' permission, is a wire coat hanger, you can simply bend it into a circle, and then this is great to use to dip into the solution, and then all you have to do is wave the wand and you'll get a nice large bubble. So take some time. You might even want to use your launch log to design your own bubble wands. That's a great idea. Think about different sizes and shapes and see if you can make, the largest bubble. Give it a shot. All right, scholars, that's all I have for you. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.